Xbox's tentpole release of Halo Campaign Evolved did very little to reverse the brand's terrible year, selling only 1.2 million copies across all platforms, according to Reese Elliott at Alinea Insight. Welcome to Inside Games Daily, the only gaming news show brave enough to say that $50 is too much for a campaign-only remake of a 25-year-old video game.
Yes, and I think everyone else shares that opinion based on these results. It's also pretty brave of us to feel ourselves turn into skeletons when we say something like that. 25 years, geez. But regardless of how crackly our knees might be now, the point still stands. Halo is kind of a dud. So to hear about this, we got to throw to the one man who doesn't know the meaning of the word dud, Brian Garr.
Not unless it has the word milk in front of it. And then it's a delicious treat. But yeah, so this comes from Alinea Insight's latest newsletter. It breaks down Halo Campaign Evolved's performance, and the results aren't great. Yeah, for a game that came out 2 months after 9/11. Only 1.2 million copies sold, according to their research, with 42% buying on Xbox, 41% on PlayStation, and just over 17% on PC.
I gotta say, 42% and then 41% on PlayStation. Pretty smart to release on PlayStation, because otherwise they probably would not have had nearly as many copies sold. Of course, discerning gamers that maybe didn't want to pay $50 perhaps opted for the obviously cheaper Game Pass route.
Yes, which is where a lot of the players are on Xbox and PC, so it kind of skews the sales numbers. Reese Elliott here reports that 2.1 million players played the game via Game Pass, with 600,000 of that group paying $20 on top of Game Pass to play the game 5 days earlier.
Elliott refers to that as cannibalized sales, which, sure, but Game Pass isn't free either, so, kind of.
All right, so pardon the detour, but let's run some side numbers about Game Pass. So the latest rumored Game Pass subscriber numbers say the program has 30 million subscribers.
Yeah, and the absolute cheapest Game Pass tier that includes Halo Campaign Evolved is PC Game Pass, and right now that's $14 a month.
So even if we assume that every Game Pass player was using the cheapest tier possible, that's 420 million, blaze it, in revenue just for this month.
That's just for Game Pass. And if every one of the 2.1 million Game Pass players bought the game for $50 instead, that'd be $105 million credited to Halo Campaign Evolved.
Yeah, so the amount of money they get for Game Pass, and granted this is all of Game Pass, is orders of magnitude larger than the cannibalized sales that we're theoretically looking at. But there's a lot of caveats here. Game Pass doesn't exist only for Halo Campaign Evolved, and I think we don't really have a good picture of how that money is distributed internally, nor do we really need it. But still, it's not apples to apples here. It's a huge vat of money for many things compared to what revenue could have come from one single thing. This is just a little pet peeve of mine. Sometimes a lot of people refer to Game Pass as cannibalized sales. Sales are different than revenue, so that is correct. It is cannibalized sales, but still it's a distinction that we'd like to make. It doesn't mean they didn't make any revenue off those Game Pass players, that's all.
But regardless of our analytical nitpicks, the point remains Halo Campaign Evolved's performance, unlike Master Chief's tight ass, is quite soft for what's, one of Xbox's banner franchises.
And we know that those Master Cheeks, those are tight and solid, hard as a rock. But not the sales. Alinea's analysis of why Halo Campaign Evolved performed relatively poorly is straightforward. So for starters, it's too damn expensive, obviously.
Yeah, no great mystery here. Maybe you could argue that by itself, it's a nice package. I mean, it's a fun game. But the problem is, Master Chief Collection is right there, at least on PC and on Xbox, which contains a separate remake of Halo Combat Evolved. Plus, it's multiplayer. It's already kind of better right there. And it has 5 other full Halo games and their multiplayers too for $40. So it's $10 cheaper and has multiple times the content.
But boys, what about PlayStation? Surely Halo blew the minds of these Sony pony players. Actually, it did not at all.
Oh, well, that's too bad. Analysis shows that PlayStation players that picked up Halo tended to play older and Xbox adjacent games, leading them to deduce that these players might be older, lapsed Xbox fans that switched to PlayStation over the botched Xbox One launch way back in 2013.
Yeah, so you're looking at slices and slices and slices of a Venn diagram that's getting smaller and smaller as you go. Pretty rough. Elliott summarized, quote, "This landed with an older, nostalgia-driven crowd rather than pulling in a fresh PlayStation audience."
Meanwhile, another nostalgic shooter has become a full phenomenon with far less effort. Activision's ports, these aren't even remakes, of Black Ops 1 and 2 have sold over 12 million units, damn, on PlayStation alone.
Yeah, this doesn't make any sense. I've read this story over and over and over. I can't figure out why. I can't figure out why people bought these games over and it doesn't make any sense. Black Ops 2 ranked 4th in weekly active users on PlayStation the week Halo Campaign Evolved came out. According to Circana's Matt Piscatella, Halo did not even enter the top 10 that week.
Yeah, the comparison there is not favorable for Halo at all. And I think yet again, if you just, the tail of the tape explains what's going on here. Elliott writes, quote, "Two 15-year-old COD ports outsold a remake of the iconic Halo 1 on PS5 by more than 16-1 at a lower price and with worse graphics. And the difference is a key one, PvP."
Meanwhile, trophy data makes this impossible to ignore. As of yesterday and over a month from release, only 21.7% of Black Ops 2 players on PS5 have even started the campaign, and only 8.2% of players finished the third mission.
Yeah, so everybody went straight to PvP, and that's all they did, which it would make sense. It's Call of Duty. It is almost like porting the Master Chief Collection to PS5 would have been faster, cheaper, and far more popular. We don't make games, though. We just play them and occasionally analyze them. But that is our analysis.
Yeah, what a weird situation. I think that the world moves fast now, and Halo has just been too inactive for too long. Now, they've gotten games out here and there, but I don't think they've been necessarily the cultural touchstones that a lot of people used to equate with Halo Combat Evolved. I do think another factor that I think we here in the US have a bit of a skewed perspective on the relative popularity of these games. I think Xbox in general, and Halo especially as a competitive shooter, I think they were a bit disproportionately popular in the United States. So we tend to think of, or I've seen people in gamer circles kind of equate Halo with Call of Duty in terms of units sold. But I think at Halo's peak, it was only just about as popular as Call of Duty, and Call of Duty was on the run-up at that time. So there was a time that they were maybe neck and neck, but Call of Duty has shot off, and that's because Activision somehow pulled off the miracle of releasing a AAA game every year, varying quality, but they also overstuffed the box. They were one of the first to do a campaign plus multiplayer plus a magical third mode. So they kind of set. It's funny to see them get. It's funny to see Halo get the brakes beaten off by Call of Duty, because Call of Duty kind of beat it to the punch in every regard over these last 15 years.
Yeah, and we hinted at it. Well, we really didn't hint at it in this story. We told you that if Halo had multiplayer, it probably would have sold better. And I mean, there were rumors of that Halo Campaign Evolved sort of lost its remade multiplayer along the way in development. That I've read that story a couple of times, and sort of people have been like, well, it was supposed to have it, but it doesn't anymore. And there are even rumors of a Halo Live Service multiplayer coming out soon, which they may have just literally just taken off the Campaign Evolved and been like, we'll just sell it for another $30 or whatever. Maybe in an effort to make more money. I don't know that that's going to do it for them. It's really interesting, because I don't now that they got me paying $50 for Campaign Evolved, and then let's say another $40 for multiplayer. That is a tough one. $90 total for a remade campaign and a remade multiplayer of a 25-year-old video game. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know that that's going to sell very many. And if they had maybe put them together and sold them for $60, you might have an actual, thing that people will buy.
Yeah, I mean, it's why Limp Bizkit and Christina Aguilera aren't selling as many albums as they did in 2001. It's just it's just been around for so long, and it hasn't kept it fresh. Lawrence is exactly right. Call of Duty, I think it definitely, games like it, Battlefield, occupy the space where Halo did. And I felt like when Halo came out, not maybe not. No, it feels like was the PvP was that it was a console first person shooter that you didn't have to have a PC for. You could play on your Xbox. PlayStation had nothing like it, at least as popular. And so that was Halo at the time. Like that was the reason why Halo became. The campaign was awesome. I loved the campaign, but what people came back for was PvP, and I think. Yeah, of course it's not. And you got, like you said, you got the fucking Master Chief Collection right there. And, it just makes no sense. I'm surprised it sold as much as it did, to be honest.
Yeah, and I suppose it can always continue to sell if they maybe find a way to push updates to it, or maybe even, like Bruce said, sell some kind of bolt-on multiplayer. I suspect, given the way it seems from the outside Xbox makes decisions, is they didn't want anything to seemingly compete with Halo Infinite, but I guess they've already walked away from that one. They kind of tried to build that into a Halo as a service multiplayer shooter, just didn't really find the hooks in the audience. I don't know, I think spiritually Halo's at a weird crossroads. I think the things that make it Halo are also the things that make it kind of dated by design. Which puts it in a weird spot. I think if like Infinite really did kind of push it as far as it could go, I think while still feeling Halo, and if there's not a place in the world for like an online shooter like that, and yeah, maybe it is just now it gets consigned to the millennial nostalgia waves. So we'll see it again in 15 years, I guess. The next Halo Combat Evolved remake. Can't wait to see what they do with it then.
All right, guys. Well, I have a special announcement. Today's Inside Games Inside Gamer is actually our very own Lawrence Sontag.
Oh, what?
Lawrence went to the dentist, and he doesn't have any cavities. That's a huge accomplishment. How did you do that? Was he like, hey, you flossed enough, or what happened?
Yeah, I actually floss. It turns out it does make a difference. So floss after every meal, boys and girls.
Thank you very much for watching Inside Games Daily. Campaign Evolved is fun. Lawrence and I played through it, and it was really, really fun. We also got codes for it. We didn't pay $50 for it, so there's that. That's important to note. You can celebrate our spotless ethics, because we just told you that, by checking out our Patreon, where all the content is free. And of course, the memes are dank there. Lawrence posts all of our videos there for free, as well as a bunch of free memes. So if you want to support us with extra cash, Patreon is the place to do it. Rexmas128, Cesar Mendez, Jared Watkins, and Buck also support us on the Patreon. And is Buck from Halo? Is that it? Are we talking about from ODST or whatever?
Yeah. It's weird. Like there's some patron names that at this point I'm very familiar with. There's been a couple of times where I'm like, oh my God, that's what that name means. So this was one of those times. Said Buck millions of times, never once thought it was the ODST, I think is who he is. Hold on a minute. Let me look it up here.
Is he one of the orbital drop shock trooper, whatever?
He's a Spartan 4. My bad. Yeah.
Oh, wow. The audience is screaming at us right now.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, gosh, what's his name? Voiced by the Firefly guy, Nathan Fillion. There we go.
Oh, Nathan Fillion. Oh.
Fan favorite Buck. Anyway, long side ramble, but yeah, one of those like moments when I looked at the avatar and I was like, I know that guy. So very topical. And thanks for the support.